Yo, what's the deal, Goldilocks? Ain't nothing, I'm just hibernating. Love that watch, pour me some scotch and Coca-Cola, no doubt. Have a cheer, boo, let's get the poly in. Who you with? Me and Molly and some trickles Yugoslavian. What fabric is that? It's only wool and rayon, lipstick, crayon, fly, Fahrenheit spray on. I'm getting tipsy, I hope she read cocks like a gypsy. Transporting bricks, stealing mini 50s. Fuck negotiating, is you with me, is you waiting? Sweet as carrot cake faking.
What's your feelings about the perception of black women in media, especially in regards to relationships?
The perception of black women in the media, especially in regards to relationships. Okay, honestly, I think it's a big joke. I think while there are aspects of truth to it, I think it's basically focusing on more of a minority, but because it's blasted so much, it's covered so much, it's given to us with such force and consistency that I think it makes people who have even the slightest similarity to it believe it, and it makes people feel a lot more hopeless than I think is really the case. As is what happens a lot of the times, the negatives of circumstances are usually much louder than the positives. People who are going through rough times, who have had rough times and horrible experiences, are much more likely to be vocal about it and talk about the things that have happened to them versus those who are happy, who are content, and who are going through what the ideal relationship should be. So they're keeping to themselves. They're not raising all the hell that the hurt, spurned black woman would be making. Now that's not to say there aren't aspects of our community and society that are truly being represented. I mean, these numbers aren't coming from left field. There are a lot of men who don't do what they're supposed to do, don't live up to their responsibilities, have X amount of kids from Y amount of females and think that's just their right. I'm not going to make excuses for that. But at the same time, I don't see my women as being some lonely, desperate, nobody wants me type portion of society, like how it's played out so much. I know a number of black women in good relationships, good marriages, good family settings, and the only thing I would say is that they're not vocal on the same level as the single black mom who's been disrespected by the father of her kids, or the single non-parent black woman who seems that she can't find someone or feels that the men that she has immediate right to are more interested in other races, which I honestly think is it's a subject all of its own. But I think the media plays into this for whatever reason. With all the different cultures and races that make up America, I kind of feel like us as black people, we're sort of the circus freaks. Everything about us is entertainment to people. The things that we struggle with get turned into reality shows. Our athleticism is put out there. It's funny. I always kind of reflect back to this, that the same group of men that we watch as football players, baseball players, basketball players, you take them and put them in regular street garb and put them on the street, people look at them as a gang. But you put them on a field, they're now entertainment. That's the way we're seen, and it's playing the same way to our women, who have done so much as it is that, as media gets bigger and it gets stronger, I think that disproportionate display of them is really starting to seep into their mentality. And this is something that we really got to deal with, because this is being passed on to the young daughters as well. How many kids do you know? How many young girls you know are being taught that you don't need a man? How are you going to react when you get to 18, being taught since you were 8 that you don't need a man? When one comes along, you're not going to want him. You're not going to know how to deal with him. You're not going to know what to expect from him. We all know the cycle, but now we've got cameras in our face the whole while we're trying to figure it out. So long story short, I don't like the perception of my women in the media.
Why you acting like a rep teaser? I'm like the jury exchange plus a range, nigga. Use small change. I only fuck for Figaro chains. Analyzing Miss Clairo, Fendi down, mascara on, assistant manager in Paragon.